We have an educated guess as to what the Rams are going to do in the first round of the NFL draft. Former Uber prospect Dalton Rushing has a role on the Dodgers, only it's not that big of one, and a popular reliever will not be ready for opening day. Good morning. I'm James, and this is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the Faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is February 20th, 2026. Welcome back to the home office. If you like being in the know about LA sports, click and clack the like button. Click and clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop an update. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. By all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, we have a quick look at the scoreboard from last night. Clippers 115, Denver 114. Benedict Mathurin, kind of a throw-in with all of the flurries, all the deals the Clippers made at the trade deadline. He comes off the bench last night, drops 38 on the Nuggets, and lo and behold, the Clippers are just one game under 500 after that disastrous 6-21 start. Also, Galaxy 1, Sporting San Miguelito 1. Joseph Paintsill secures the draw, but grand scale for the Galaxy, not good enough of a season opener. Damn near atrocious, I would say. It was the first round of CONCACAF Champions Cup. There is a rapid recap of that match. You can find it to watch on the Galaxy playlist. Meanwhile, today, the Clippers are at the Lakers at 7. Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves are expected to play tonight. So with that out of the way, let's get to the news. We would have dropped this update earlier, but in late breaking news that has whatever written all over it, the Rams have decided to promote Nate Scheelhaase from passing game coordinator to offensive coordinator. Dave Ragone will also add co-offensive coordinator as a title. The biggest of whoops. Look, the reason I'm not treating this as a big thing is because Sean McVay calls all the plays. He's done it ever since the Rams hired him as head coach. Now, he just likes having a sounding board to bounce ideas off of. And don't get me wrong, Scheelhaase has been terrific at that part. It was why he was given interviews with teams for their head coaching vacancies in the last month or so. But a couple of days ago, I should say, the scribes there were raising this big old fuss. Wait, the Rams are the only team without an offensive coordinator. Why haven't they hired an offensive coordinator yet? Well, it's because Scheelhaase and McVay were locked in the conference room scheming up concepts for next year. Finally, I'm assuming some PR lackey said, hey guys, may as well make it official. Become the power couple you were always meant to be. And so they went out and they had a presser and they held hands or whatever. Bottom line, Scheelhaase gets the gig. Everybody moves on. And the reason I want to move on is because normally I don't want to start the show with unsourced opinions. You get enough of that online as it is. But because football has become a year-round phenomenon, it's so tempting to look at mock drafts as if you're getting the inside dope, right? Which you're not, because these guys creating these mock drafts, they say, okay, Team X has these needs. These are the best players available to fill those needs. Voila. And it's goofy because teams form their rosters in different ways. Even when a team like the Rams has a championship window open, though, it is so tempting to look at those mock drafts. I would understand it if you were a fan of the Las Vegas Raiders, because you want to get any semblance of hope that you can after that disastrous year, and you're like counting down the days until Fernando Mendoza becomes your franchise savior. Well, the Rams don't need a messiah. They might just be one decent player away. So all the guys creating the mock drafts are like, oh, the Rams need a cornerback. must draft a cornerback. They have 2 first-round picks. Why not draft a cornerback? Well, to explain why they're not going to draft a cornerback, I don't believe for a moment that they will. To explain why they're not going to draft a cornerback, we bring back the whiteboard of infinite wisdom. Oh, they got to draft a cornerback. They would have reached the Super Bowl if Sam Darnold didn't tear them limb from limb. I understand. But it's not because Sam Darnold tore them limb from limb. It's because Jacoby Brissett tore that secondary apart. Twice. Same for Bryce Young. Twice. But they're not going to do it. And here's why. I observe how front offices operate. Okay? Yes, the Rams have 2 first-round picks. I still think they're going to take a quarterback who can keep that championship window alive when Matthew Stafford retires. From watching general manager Les Snead operate, Snead will tell you he looks at late first-round picks and says, that may as well be in the second round. I don't care. I'll trade that pick if I feel like it. So yes, that 29th pick can be had in a trade. By the way, the Rams also currently have 10 draft picks, which is way too many for a team that doesn't have to build an entire roster for the future. By the way, the Rams have never taken a cornerback in the first round since Snead became the GM. They've only taken 1 cornerback in the first 2 rounds. That would be Janoris Jenkins, when the Rams were still in St. Loser misery. Would you like to know another reason why they're not going to take a cornerback in the first round? It's because the Rams mix their coverages a lot. They play a lot of zone because they know they're trying to bring another person up to the defensive line to increase the pass rush, to help in run defense. So you don't play a lot of man when you're with the Rams. It's not simply, hey, let's just draft the best cover guy. It doesn't work that way. And so they mix complex coverages. You're asking a rookie to master cover 6 on a professional level if you take a cornerback in the first round. That is a big ask. So in my opinion, from looking at the board, what do? Since they're prone to trading away late first round picks, they did that last year, by the way, with Atlanta. I think they're going to trade away pick number 29 with other assets to land a veteran cornerback. Not an old geezer cornerback, a veteran. Somebody who knows how to play cover 6 or other complex coverages. And then I think what they're going to do with pick number 13 is they're going to take a quarterback. So yeah, trade the other pick with other assets, land the cornerback, take pick 13, land the quarterback. If you're a Rams fan, let me know what you think in the comments thread. The Dodgers have been known as a franchise that values optionality, which is basically a $5 word for utility player. With that said, Dave Roberts said Dalton Rushing will not be bouncing from position to position to get more at-bats, despite his highly touted resume from the minor leagues. And, of course, the fact that Will Smith is arguably one of the top 2 catchers in the game. So, Roberts said, quote, I want him to understand his role as a backup catcher, what that entails. Really learn the pitchers. Learn a swing that works for playing a couple of times a week. He's used to playing a lot more, but I think that just kind of still maturing. I think he grew last year, and I like where he's at right now. Outfield is not on the table unquote. Now, this move is a bit of a surprise. Rushing had been playing outfield in the minor leagues as part of an audition to get to the major leagues faster. Roberts did not rule out, however, the idea of Rushing giving Freddie Freeman a day off from first base. Problem with that, Freeman wants to play all 162 games this year. So yeah, Dalton Rushing, despite that massive resume, your backup catcher. There was some debate during the playoff run last year, by the way. If Freeman wins another ring, does he go to the Hall of Fame with an Atlanta cap or an LA lid? So it's not official. But he told the Scribes that he wants to play in LA until he's 40 because, quote, I love being here, unquote. Assume accordingly. Brusdar Graterol, as expected, will not be ready at the start of the season. He missed all of last year, recovering from shoulder labrum surgery. Roberts recently lamented the pitcher hadn't recovered all of his velocity. This is pretty common for pitchers when they have shoulder surgery, not getting all of those MPHs back. And Roberts also said Mookie Betts will hit third in the lineup. Even more, quote, he will be in the MVP conversation this year, unquote. Color me skeptical. He hit 258. I love Mookie Betts. The Dodgers went from a rebuilding, a power that was building things up, and Mookie Betts literally turned them into a championship winner overnight. So I love the guy. He's 33. And by the way, you can honestly argue that he won't be in the MVP conversation so long as he plays shortstop, and that takes up his focus at the plate. The Dodgerification of the Lakers took perhaps its biggest steps this week. Although I can't tell you how it impacts the product on the court, it might. Tim Harris, who is president of business operations, is leaving at the end of the season. He'll be replaced by Lon Rosen. Rosen was Magic Johnson's longtime agent. And then, of course, Magic owns a piece of the Dodgers. So Rosen ran the business side of the Dodger operation. Now, we would have to look for ways that impacts the Lakers. I have a guess. This is the guy who took the Shohei Ohtani $700 million contract and instantaneously made it profitable with the Dodgers. The thing with the Dodgers is, though, they take their profits and invest it back into the product. They do so with scouting. They do so with analytics. They do so with training and trainers and so on. So if you're looking for a way that this would make the the Lakers more competitive, yeah, you could easily see profits in the future being invested in the product, as opposed to what the Buss family did, because the Lakers were a quote unquote family business. They needed the profits. They lived off the profits. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about what you think of the Rams and their first round picks this year. For that matter, are you okay with the way Dodger spring training is going so far? And if you enjoyed this update, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day. Thank you for watching. I'm James, and we'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.